John's speech today is from the Persuasive Speaking Manual Project 2. This presentation is inspired by Clint Eastwood. The goal of this presentation is to get the listener to think outside the box. We're raised in a culture that has us living dependent on massive government. As admirers of personal liberty, we need to clarify, focus on, and get the listener's attention about why we've gone so far astray and what we must do to restore our future. John will be introducing us to his book, Being Human 101. John Zaugg.
Thank you, John. How does it feel to be living as the pawns of those who claim they will care, provide, and protect us? How does it feel to have over half of everyone's earning being confiscated by the government? Do you admire living in a nation where almost half the population lives on some form of government handout, benefit, or subsidy? What is it that has to change to put America back on a path to enduring peace and prosperity? John Zaugg, I'm sure will be telling us here in a moment with this talk entitled Pretend You're Talking with a Teenager.
Welcome to Liberty Toastmasters. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, you're starting college this fall. Excellent. Can I ask you one question? What's your major concern? Getting a job when you graduate to pay for all the debt you're going to incur going to college. I can understand that. Your friends apparently feel the same way. Let me introduce myself. My name is John Zaugg. I'm the author of a new book that I'm in the process of writing, Being Human, Living as a Person Instead of as a Doormat. This book is written for teenagers. They're the ones whose future we are destroying. The underlying problem I see today, the majority of adults actually enjoy living reliant upon and dependent upon government. The question I'm raising, now let me ask you this question. How would you define being human or being a person? Okay, very good. Being compassionate, love, working hard, taking care of family, civic duty. I was raised on all those kind of values. What I slowly came to realize is they're a bunch of mush. I have seen since then, whether left or right or in between or any place else, based on those values, people get away with almost anything. So I'm proposing, let's define being human, being people, a little differently. It's something that we do, all of us, every day, that makes us human. It's really very basic. Being human means solving problems. Being a problem solver instead of, for example, a burden on your neighbor. That's what makes us human and adults, being problem solvers. I also came up with two core values that are essential to being a problem solver. And they're very simple. Honesty and respect. Not complicated. I'm not going to take time here to define these for you. That's what the book is for. But I will say a couple things about them. They're so easy to understand and apply and learn becoming an adult that any 10-year-old can appreciate them and start to learn them. And the next thing is, if those 10-year-olds and those teenagers were actually taught these values, they would know very shortly they're smarter than the average college professor. Because they're sitting in classes, whether they teachers or professors, and they would very quickly realize, you know something, I'm being brainwashed, indoctrinated, and dumbed down deliberately. And that's what's happening. And that's why I want you to consider possibly reading my book. Have you ever heard that story? If You come upon a starving family, teach them how to fish so they can take care of themselves. What that really is saying is, teach them how to solve problems so they don't have to live as homeless, hungry families. Unfortunately, what we're doing today is exactly the opposite. We live as a nation dependent on welfare handouts. And the idea of being problem solvers, well, maybe once in a while. What this should tell us is that we must do is teach how to function and work together as problem solvers instead of living as parasites on the backs of our neighbors. Until we make that fundamental change, we are a nation running on empty. It is how we each see ourselves that makes the difference of what kind of community we are, family we are, and people we are. I have, with what's time left, a whole list of examples, but I'll pick to just a few that I come upon this stuff virtually daily, so I don't have to look very far to find examples. One of the ones I wanted to bring up is what I call entertainment. I don't go to a lot of movies, so what I'm basing this on is the previews and all the stuff they put out on our television every day. But entertainment is based on two things, a lot of it. Violence and absurdities, getting into realities that are just nonsense. The result is, what entertainment is, what art is, it's like looking in the mirror. This is what we see, this is how we see ourselves. That's what they're doing. They're putting forth entertainment that we hate. I like that. The truth of the matter is, it's disgusting. Art should be a portrayal of character. There's a little bit of that out there, but not a lot. The next example, again, this one I saw last night. We now have our esteemed leaders passing immigration legislation. It's a complete joke. We are spending, first I heard it was $20 billion to enforce the border. Now I heard it's $40 billion. Last night it's now been $47 billion. This is not a solution. This is not problem solvers. This is not dealing with the problem. You know, a year ago, Barack Obama went down to South America, and the leaders sat down and talked about, hey, let's solve this problem with the borders. And you know what the answer was? Silence. What we're really doing is feeding the military corporate complex. The question I pose to you, are we ready to change course? Are we going to stand up and become problem solvers instead of a burden on society, relying on force, bureaucrats, and massive government? Are we going to behave as human beings or be treated like subjects of the rulers? If you want to have a meaningful discussion about what matters most and be smarter than the average college professor, then you need to read my book. If we're going to save America, we have to stop depending on government and take a look at ourselves, what kind of people